We're speaking with Dr. Gina Francis, Public Relations Officer, National Montford Point Marine Association Ladies Auxiliary, and Houston Shinal, National Monument Director. Dr. Francis is here with us in studio. Houston Shinal is on the phone from out of state. The Montford Pointers were the first African-American Marines. They trained in Jacksonville during World War II. The dedication of the memorial is now set for July 29th at 9 a.m. Let's talk about the design of the memorial and some of the significance of the design. First, who was the designer?
The designer of the monument is an individual by the name of Liam Wright. He's out of New York, and he has an uncle who is an original Montford Pointer, and he wanted to help us with putting the memorial together, so that's how we ended up acquiring his services on the project.
I know there's a significance to the design of the memorial, the slope, and the Marine heading up the slope. Tell me a little bit about that significance.
The Montford Point Marines were originally support roles, which was primarily ammo carriers, cooks, and other truck drivers and other support roles. That particular element of the monument signifies the point at which the Montford Pointers moved from being just support Marines into actual combat roles. And that is signified by the fact that at the rear of the Marine, you will find an ammo can, and you'll notice that he's picking up a rifle in his right hand, which signifies that transition from ammo carriers to actually Marines in combat. And the fact that he's on an uphill slope signifies the fact that that was an uphill struggle for them to get to that point.
We know the first phase of the project is completed with dedication coming up this summer. Tell me a little bit about the next phase of the project.
Okay. We're looking forward to getting started with phase 2. Probably 90% of the project was completed in phase 1. In phase 2, we'll come back. Brick pavers will be incorporated into the entire monument on the deck. We have some additional benches that will go in along with all the electrical lighting. And that portion of the project, once done, will complete the project. Even though it sounds like a small amount, it's still financially, we still have a distance to go to get there.
So obviously fundraising is still a major issue for the project. Tell me a little bit about what is still needed.
We're still doing fundraising. We still have engraved bricks available at the monument for donations, and we still have to raise another $416,000 to complete the project. Now, that's exciting to us because when we went into phase 1, we were actually expecting that amount to be double. But after we finished phase 1, we completed some items in phase 1 because we finished under budget, allowing us to reduce the budget needed to complete phase 2 down to that number from $800,000.
When do we expect to break ground on the next phase?
That is strictly driven by fundraising because the Department of Defense requires that we have all the funds raised prior to starting the project. And the reason for that is they don't want you to get started, run out of funds, and end up with a project in an incomplete state.
Dr. Francis, the public can go to the Montford Point Marine Association webpage to learn more about the project, and I also understand they can make donations there.
If they would like to purchase an engraved brick, those bricks are available for $500 donation. Any donation certainly would be appreciated. We don't want anyone to feel as though a donation is too small. So just a donation of your choosing is appreciated.
And you can make a donation by going online to montfordpointmarines.org.
Montford Point, that's mpmamemorial.org.
Okay, mpmamemorial.org. So if we go online to mpmamemorial.org, we can make a donation. We can also find out a lot more about the project and who the Montford Point Marines were. And just to refresh people's memory, they were the first African-American Marines and were trailblazers. They actually fought for the right to fight.
That is correct. 20,000 African-American recruits trained through Montford Point between 1942 and 1949. Among those gentlemen was my late father, Glenn White.
Mr. Shinal, is there anything that you'd like to add?
The project has come along at such a rapid pace that it is really exciting for us. One of our goals was to complete the project while the Montford Pointers, some of them were still living to be able to see it. And we're just real excited about the fact that in July, on the 29th of July, we will actually have original Montford Pointers back in Jacksonville to witness that. And a number of them are excited. They're already making reservations. We're getting phone calls every day. And they're making big plans to be in the area to view the memorial. So it's going to be a really exciting day for us as an association, and even more so for those individuals who actually train at Montford Point.
In addition to, you had mentioned earlier in the interview regarding the statue of the Montford Pointer going up the slope, there are some other components to the memorial. We have a wall of stars that represents the 20,000 Montford Pointers that trained through Montford Point. And we also have an M1A1 anti-aircraft gun. And that was the primary weapon that they used when they were coming through Montford Point. It was a weapon that they nicknamed or dubbed the Lena Horn because of the rhythmic sound that it made when it was fired.
Why is there a wall of stars instead of a wall of names at the memorial? It's due to the fear of omission. There are incomplete records of the Montford Point Marines. Names can be placed at the memorial on bricks that are being donated. There are 3 concentric rings that will be part of the final project, and there's a meaning, a significance to each of those rings. We get a little bit of information from the designer O. Liam Wright, founder of True Interaction Consultants of New York. It is to reflect not only the Montford Pointers' role in bringing about integration, but the roles of all parties involved. He says it seemed proper to have a memorial that honored many aspects of integration because there were many who came together to make things happen. Everybody had to change. Wright said, referring to the Marine Corps and society, the Montford Point Marine Memorial stands as a testament to the freedom of making choices. Generations of visitors will see that seemingly insurmountable odds cannot stand against individuals who choose to set goals and overcome. And tell me a little bit about those 3 rings and their meaning.
Well, as you said, there are 3 rings. One represents the Montford Pointers themselves, one represents the Marine Corps, and then one represents the society of that time. And the society of that time was not very inviting when the Montford Pointers first came to the Jacksonville area. And the significance now of the memorial is to show that all of those components, all those parties had to come together to make integration come about, not only in the Marine Corps, but, it kind of spilled over into society at large. Integration was kind of tried, if you will, as an experiment in the Marine Corps. Once it was determined that it worked in the Marine Corps, then it spilled over into the public schools, public libraries, and public accommodations, and into the workplace. So that was the reason that in 2012, Congress awarded the Montford Point Marines the Congressional Gold Medal for their role in integrating not only the Marine Corps, but the nation at large.
And the Montford Point Marine story is a story of all Americans. It's not just a story of African Americans, but all Americans.
Yes, it's not just African American history. It's not just Marine Corps history. It's American history.
Thank you both for taking the time to speak with us today about this important project right here in Jacksonville at our Memorial Gardens off Lejeune Boulevard. The Montford Point Marine Association would like to thank the City of Jacksonville and County of Onslow, which each donated $225,000 to the project. The land was donated by the Department of the Navy, and the military will maintain the memorial. The association also wants to thank the many members of the public who have donated so far. Again, Dr. Gina Francis, Public Relations Officer, National Montford Point Marine Association Ladies Auxiliary, and Houston Shinal, National Monument Director of the Montford Point Marine Memorial here in Jacksonville.